Yo guys, Bendy and the Dark Rifle might just be around the corner, and seeing that it's the second installment of the Bendy franchise, would you believe me if I said that major characters from Bendy and the Ink Machine, the first installment of the franchise, will be arriving in Bendy and the Dark Revival? No? Well, Piper got something to say about it. What's up guys, it's Just Games here and welcome back to another video. Today, we're taking a look at characters who might make a comeback from Bendy's previous IP, Bendy and the Ink Machine, into their newest IP, Bendy and the Dark Revival. Before we continue, I'd like to say that these are just speculations, not official info, so don't get your Ink Machine a twist just because you've seen this video and didn't see Alice Angel in the game when it releases. But, without further ado, let's get it! You might wonder, why Just Games? Why should we believe anything you say about a theory like this? Better yet, how do you know these characters are making a comeback? Well, let's go to the archives in Bendy and the Ink Machine. In the archives, there are several characters without info. Why? Because you can't reveal their identities, origins, and everything if that's just supposed to be huge info for a second game. And Bendy and the Dark Revival seemed like a planned second game, with the cliffhanger ending to the golden ink writings after we received the seeing tool after beating the game, and so much more.
Tell me another one, Uncle Joey.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was their tactic. And not only that, we've seen a few of them in Bendy and the Dark Revival merch and Bendy and the Dark Revival teaser tapes.
So what can you expect in the coming months?
You never know. He's always watching me.
I saw Mr. Drew the other day, meeting with that Connor fellow holding some paper.
And seeing there's a good amount of these characters within the three examples I mentioned, let's start with... Norman Pope was a projectionist at Georgia Studios, simply fixing and running projectors of Bendy cartoons.
No, I'm not looking for trouble. It's just the nature of us projectionists to seek out the dark places.
But he was a sly man, snooping around, knowing about the secrets of the studio by eavesdropping.
That projectionist, they always say, creeping around. He's just looking for trouble. Whether trouble or not, I sees everything. They don't even know when I'm watching.
But those secrets were kept shut when he was mysteriously turned into this projectionist. We never knew how he came to be this way, an ink monster mixed with machinery, a very foreign concept in Bendy. His transformation being told or shown in Bendy and the Dark Revival can explain the many experiments, like the Butcher Gang, but for some reason, the projectionist isn't even seen in the archives. Maybe his presence is enough to spoil Bendy and the Dark Revival as a whole. Plus, in Bendy and the Dark Revival, we might know about the secrets that he's been keeping secret through audio logs and such.
See, I know the ins and outs of this here studio.
Now, next in the spotlight, we got...
That's too quiet. And that's hard to come by in these busy times.
Jack Fane wasn't a major character in Bendy and the Ink Machine. We know he was a songwriter.
Sammy's songs always got some bounce, but if I didn't get away once in a while, they'd never have any words to go with them.
And probably the searcher we meet near his office in the sewers in Chapter 2. He, just like Norman, wasn't found in the archives, but he did receive a Bendy and the Dark Revival teaser audio log.
I saw Mr. Drew the other day, meeting with that Connor fellow holding some papers.
I'd imagine Jack Fane being in mostly audio logs in Bendy and the Dark Revival, showing his perspective of working with Sammy Lawrence, the music director who went crazy and started worshipping the Ink Demon. A perspective of a worker like Jack Fane would be very fresh in the story since he's almost normal, unlike Susie and Sammy. On to the next song we got...
One more pipe first, I'm out of here.
Wally Franks was a janitor and handyman at Georgia Studio. Besides his prankster attitude and his famous catchphrase, "I'm outta here,"
I'm out of here. 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 I'm out of here.
we don't know much about him, but we do receive a Bendy and the Dark Revival teaser audio log with him in it.
I'm out of here.
Maybe he might be revealed in Bendy and the Dark Revival, since we don't even know what he really looks like. Or maybe he's a villain in Bendy and the Dark Revival. Who knows? But before I'm out of here, we got...
You may think I'm wrong, but I'm still here!
Bertram Pimo was a famous amusement park architect.
For 40 years, I've built attractions that stagger the imagination.
Who we all know widely as the one who was commissioned by Joey to build an amusement park, Bendyland, which is located underneath Georgia Studios. That's all we know about him except one factor. he somehow fused himself with a carousel that he built when we discovered him in Chapter 4 of Bendy and the Ink Machine, which stemmed, in my opinion, the best boss fight in the game. What Bertram did was very surprising to Bendy and the Ink Machine. We've probably seen people get turned to horrific living cartoons, but for a human to fuse himself with a machine is unordinary, which, in full revealing Bertram's sick, twisted experiment transformation process, would be big in Bendy and the Dark Revival, which could stem so many other possibilities. But if he was given info in the archives, they would have to explain how he fused himself with his own amusement rides, which is a spoiler. He also had his own Bendy and the Dark Revival teaser audio tape as well.
A grand idea is one that requires care and attention.
On to the next ride we got.
Let's see if you're worthy to walk with angels.
When she was still human, Susie Campbell was the lead voice actress for, you guessed it, Alice Angel.
People really seem to enjoy my Alice Angel voice.
She was also the first one to be part of the infamous soul transfer to a cartoon through the Ink Machine experiment, which helped stem all types of other freak experiments that shaped George Wu Studios into the studio that we know today. And that cartoon she turned into was Alice Angel. Alice Angel played a huge role in Bendy and the Ink Machine, almost feeling like a main antagonist at times. She usually goes around looking for Borises so she can get their hearts and make herself look so-called perfect.
I'm so close now. So almost perfect.
If she wasn't speculated to be in Bendy and the Dark Revival, her cannibalistic goal, along with her seductive, cunning, two-faced personality, and her huge role within the story, is too much of a miss for her to be left out. And seeing that she's also played a huge role for the testing of the Ink Machine.
Susie, I'll be straight. I'm putting together a small project. A little ceremony. Winners, a lot of dreams will come true. And I want you to be a part of it. I want you to bring Alice to life once again. What do you say?
Which is huge because Bendy and the Ink Machine. And since there are still some unsolved mysteries of the Ink Machine experiment, who is a better demonstration to show those answers to these mysteries other than Alice herself in Bendy and the Dark Revival? Plus, if she had info in the archives, the devs will have to reveal those secrets to describe why she became the way she is currently, which will spoil a lot of juicy info not only for Bendy and the Dark Revival, but for future Bendy games. Since she's speculated to be in Bendy and the Dark Revival, she also got a teaser audio log as well.
I've got a good feeling something great is going to happen.
Since Susie was a voice actress, who wouldn't be better to cooperate with than a musician? Which brings us to the crazed ink demon worshipping musician himself.
I said, can I get an amen?
Sammy Lawrence, the music director in George Wu Studios, composed music for the Bendy cartoons until he went crazy, drank ink, and started worshipping the ink demon, which turned his obsession into a religious obsession, using cult tactics such as sacrificing to please the ink demon. Unlike the others that I mentioned, Sammy was featured in the Bendy and the Dark Revival merch, which shows that he is included within the story. Check it, I even got the Silver Sammy. Not too sure if y'all care cause, you know, I need to flex real quick. He also had his own Bendy and the Dark Revival teaser audio log.
A few more months of this, I wouldn't be surprised if that grinning demon drove me completely insane.
I'm not too sure why he's being included in the story. Maybe he might be a big antagonist assisting in the Dark Revival, but other than that, he's a mystery. Well, too bad in Bendy and the Ink Machine, he was killed off by the likes of...
No, for the last time you do that, you blow every pipe in this place.
Tomboris, aka Thomas Connor, played a huge role just like Alice, even bigger in Bendy and the Ink Machine. He was actually the one to build the Ink Machine, which started all the experiments in the first place. Sure, he wasn't the one doing the experiments, but he was still a catalyst for everything that happened in Bendy and the Ink Machine. Not only that, he was mysteriously turned into a Boris clone, which makes us wonder how and why. And that's why he's in Bendy and the Dark Revival, so the mystery can be explained. Also, Thomas Connor being in the game can help us learn about the inner workings of the Ink Machine, since again he built it. The mysterious background of the shady former company that he used to work for called Gent, which seems to have a massive role in Bendy and the Dark Revival, since it is teased throughout teasers and such, and Allison Angel with her secrets. Info like that would be story and game breaking to the game as a whole, and seeing that most of this info wasn't explained or explored in Bendy and the Ink Machine, Bendy and the Dark Revival would be perfect for that matter. And that matter is probably the reason why he didn't get any info next to him in the archives. He also had a Bendy and the Dark Revival teaser tape,
So we're looking at quite the job here.
and he was also featured in the Bendy and the Dark Revival merch as well. Got him too! Also, Bendy and the Dark Revival seem to have this plotline subtly going on in the background involving the Ink Machine, which was also teased in Bendy and the Dark Revival teasers. Throughout Bendy and the Ink Machine, the Ink Machine was seen as this dark evil thing with phrases such as "fear the machine" being prevalent throughout Bendy media, which shows that the Ink Machine is sorta evil. Since Tom knows the working of the Ink Machine, who would be a better companion to stop and destroy this evil machine? Wait, maybe it's his lover, which next is...
So, they call me Alice, but I'm no angel.
Joy decided to replace the role of voice actress for Alice Angel with Allison instead of Susie Campbell for reasons.
Apparently, I didn't get the memo. Alice Angel will now be voiced by Miss Allison Pendle.
Funny thing is that that's all we know about Allison. Just like Tomboris, we don't even know how she got turned into an Alice Angel clone. But we know she would definitely be in Bendy and the Dark Revival, as not only did she arrive in a merch line, hey look, I got to get her own teaser, have her own voice in the Return to Studio video,
The Choices You Make.
But she was one of the only characters from Bendy and the Ink Machine to have herself officially be revealed. Her head at least. Hell, she was even revealed before Bendy. But again, we know little of her. We never received a single audio log from her in Bendy and the Ink Machine, and most of everything she says when we meet her in Chapter 5 of Bendy and the Ink Machine is very vague.
1 minute, we don't even exist. Just... thoughts.
So why would she be in the game of all people? Well, for one, she knows her way around the studio. 2, she's an ally. And putting those together, she'll be a perfect character to use in a tutorial, which makes me wonder if this scene from the Bendy and the Dark Revival teaser trailer is where we meet her for such. And also, one word, betrayal. But that's a giant video for another time. And before we finally get slashing, we got... We all knew Joy Drew was going to be in Bendy and the Dark Revival. He was the one who started all this mess. Bendy, the Ink Machine, the experiments, everything. So without Joey, we just have a half-empty vessel of Bendy. He had his own Bendy and the Dark Revival teaser audio tape.
It's been said that dreaming can make it so.
But I don't think he'll be a major character in Bendy and the Dark Revival. Maybe as a catalyst for the influence of where the studio is at now, but I don't think he'll be an active protagonist. He's way too old for that. Thank you guys for watching my video. If you guys love my content, you know what to do. Also, go check out my Instagram and Twitter. This is iJustGames, and I am out.